Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're tackling one of the absolute most frustrating bottlenecks in PC building right now. Look, if you're watching the market, you already know we are deep in the trenches of this massive 2026 memory market crunch. Prices have exploded, and honestly, it's throwing a wrench into pretty much everyone's plans. So, today, we're skipping the fluff. We are getting straight to the action plan and breaking down exactly what you should be buying during this total chaos. If you're building a new PC, upgrading your current rig, or, maybe you're the one approving IT hardware quotes at your job right now, these two questions are absolutely fighting in your head. Do you just bite the bullet and buy now at these crazy inflated prices? Or do you wait for the market to calm down? And hey, what about DDR6? It's all over the news, right? So shouldn't you just hold off for the next big generation?
Well, I'm going to drop the hammer right out of the gate with an answer that's probably going to break your 20-year-old hardware buying instincts. Do not wait out this market. Seriously, you need to buy the DDR5 you genuinely need right now. I know that goes against literally everything we've been taught about PC hardware cycles, but the rules have fundamentally changed here. Let me show you exactly why.
Section 1. The broken rule. Why patience will cost you in 2026. We need to start by understanding why the old logic of just waiting for next-gen tech or waiting for a price drop is completely dead in this specific cycle.
So, the old rule was simple, right? Just wait a few months for prices to soften up. But the 2026 reality is a lot more stark. Forecasts are showing that meaningful relief in the memory market isn't coming until 2028 at the earliest. Actually, scratch that. The next quarter is likely to be even more expensive, not cheaper. If you're waiting for RAM to get cheap again, forecasts show you're making a multi-year bet that you are absolutely going to lose.
This quote from the source analysis perfectly captures the danger here. If you pause your upgrades to wait for DDR6, you're missing out on crucial CPU, GPU, and platform improvements right now. Think about it. You're hobbling your productivity or your gaming performance for 2 years, only to end up paying a massive early adopter premium for DDR6 later anyway. It truly is a delay you end up paying for twice.
Section 2. The DDR Playbook. Exactly what to buy right now. Let's pivot away from the market anxiety for a second and just look at the exact shopping list you should be using through at least 2028.
If you want to know the undisputed value sweet spot for a mainstream build today, the magic number you need to remember is 6000, specifically DDR5 6000 with CL30 timings. This is the exact configuration that keeps both AMD and Intel platforms incredibly happy. Modern titles and workloads are rarely memory bandwidth limited above this point anyway, so please, whatever you do, do not waste your scarce budget chasing irrelevant frame rates with ultra-expensive DDR5 8000 kits. It's just not worth it.
The really crucial point here is right-sizing your capacity for what you're actually doing today. 32 gigabytes? That is perfectly comfortable for general desktop use and gaming. 64 gigs is right-sized if you're doing heavy multitasking and content creation. But listen, the biggest trap in 2026 is the temptation to overbuy and grab 128 gigabytes just to be safe. If you do that, you're locking the worst memory prices in history into empty silicon space that you aren't even using. Only buy 128 gigs if you are actively running large local AI models right now.
Now, you might also encounter this new CUDIM technology. If you happen to be building on newer boards like AMD's X970E, CUDIMs feature an onboard clock driver that natively stabilizes higher speeds if you do decide to push past that 6000 sweet spot. Also, just a quick aside for our workstation builders out there looking at high-core Xeon or Threadripper chips, while they technically allow 2 DIMMs per channel, a lot of boards are dropping this for signal integrity reasons. Always double-check your motherboard's qualified vendor list before buying 8 sticks of registered memory that you won't even be able to run stably.
Section 3. The DDR4 trap, a dangerous attempt to economize. Before we look at the future, we really have to issue a serious warning about a trap that's hidden in the past. It is incredibly tempting to look at current prices and think, you know what, I'll just build a budget rig with DDR4. Don't do it. Look, if your current DDR4 machine runs fine, by all means, leave it alone. It's doing its job. But absolutely do not start a brand new build on a dead-end socket just to save a few bucks. If you're building a new machine in 2026, you build DDR5. Full stop. And honestly, here's the real kicker. Because manufacturers have driven DDR4 to end of life and aggressively slash production, the old rule of thumb is totally dead. DDR4 roughly matches DDR5 in cost per gigabyte right now. It is basically a 1-to-1 ratio. Sometimes it's actually even more expensive, meaning you aren't actually saving any money anyway.
You'd literally be paying DDR5 money for a technology that has absolutely zero future.
Section 4. The DDR6 Reality Check. Why DDR6 isn't your 2026 savior. Let's dig into why this incredibly exciting technology is actually a terrible purchasing strategy for right now. First off, DDR6 introduces an entirely new physical form factor called CAM2. So instead of those traditional memory sticks standing straight up in slots, CAM2 modules mount completely flat and are screwed down directly against the motherboard. Honestly, a lot like how a CPU is mounted. This is physically required just to keep the signals clean at the extreme speeds DDR6 is targeting. And that explains exactly why you can't just slap a new DDR6 stick into an old system.
And the architecture leap beneath that physical change? It's massive. DDR6 abandons DDR5's two 32-bit subchannels for four 24-bit subchannels. This widens the bus to roughly double or triple your effective bandwidth. You're looking at launch speeds starting around 8,800 megatransfers per second and scaling all the way toward a crazy 17,600. But the catch is that this massive leap requires an entirely new CPU with a DDR6 controller plus a brand new chipset.
This timeline right here proves that waiting is a trap. The rollout is going to be heavily staged. We're going to see enterprise and AI servers get it first, somewhere between 2026 and 2027. Mainstream desktops and high-end laptops will eventually follow in 2027. But you won't see DDR6 commoditized with any kind of affordable ubiquity until 2030. This mirrors the exact same painful slow rollout curve that DDR4 took from 2014 to 2018. It is a long wait, folks. And let me be absolutely crystal clear on this next point. You must understand that DDR6 is completely isolated. There is zero backward compatibility, there are no adapters, there are no clever shortcuts to bridge the gap between your current rig and the next generation. You simply cannot slot DDR6 into a DDR5 board. End of story. Oh, and when desktop DDR6 does finally arrive in 2027, you can expect an initial launch premium of 2 to 3 times the cost of DDR5 per gigabyte. So if you wait, you are literally waiting to pay double or triple today's already painful prices. No thanks. Section 5. The exceptions. Who is actually allowed to wait? Now, to be perfectly impartial here, we have to look at the data and identify who genuinely should hold off. Because there is a very, very narrow slice of buyers who fit this bill.
Unless you're building a 5-plus-year long-life workstation that's naturally timed for a 2027 platform upgrade, or you're running heavily bandwidth-bound AI, machine learning, scientific computing, or heavy rendering tasks, DDR6 is simply not going to revolutionize your daily work. Gamers, take note, frame rates are largely not where DDR6 is going to help you. Furthermore, you need to have the budget for that early adopter pricing, and you must actively enjoy the expensive pain of first-generation teething issues, like immature memory training and unstable profiles. If you don't fit these very specific criteria, you are not on this list.
Section 6. The final verdict. Your 2026 action plan. All right, let's tie this all together into a concrete decision framework that protects your budget today.
Step 1. Optimize the memory you already own. Step 2. If you must buy DDR5 right-sized for the exact job in front of you right now at that 6000 CL30 sweet spot. Don't overbuy. And step 3. Take whatever savings you manage to carve out and put them into components where capacity per dollar actually still makes sense. Because the reality is this. A well-spec'd DDR5 system bought today will flat-out beat an entry-level DDR6 system in 2027. It'll cost you less, and it's going to spare you all those early adopter headaches. DDR6 right now is just a roadmap on a screen. It's not a product.
So, you've confidently navigated the RAM crisis using this playbook. You know exactly what DDR5 to buy and why you shouldn't wait. But I have to leave you with one crucial and slightly alarming thought. Storage prices are climbing right now for the exact same reasons memory prices did. With the SSD squeeze fast approaching, how are you going to handle the next massive bottleneck in your build? Think about that for a bit, and we'll see you in the next explainer to tackle it head-on.